Good morning and welcome to live coverage of the 2017 Total BWF World Championships. We're in the Scottish capital, Glasgow, the 2014 host to the Commonwealth Games and home to some 600,000 Glaswegians. I'm Bobby Griffin and we're back in the Emirates Arena, the same venue used in those games, and now to bring you day one coverage of World Championships action. Players from all over the globe, represented by 43 different nations, converge here in Glasgow for the next 7 days. It's the usual straight knockout format of these World Championships. So day one action, and we've got the first 6 matches for you live right here in a schedule that features the very best players across the world. We start with women's doubles. The once retired and now back in action Americans Eva Lee and Paula Lynn Obanana up against Chinese Taipei's Chang Hui and Yang Qing-tun. Australia's Simon Wing Hang Leung and Mitchell Weller are facing Dominic Stipsitz and Roman Zernwild in the men's doubles. In the mixed doubles, we'll see Sweden's Nico Rupanen and Amanda Hogström take on the Scots from Edinburgh, Martin Campbell and Julie McPherson. Men's singles sees Hong Kong's Wong Wei Ki, the number 12 seed, drawn against Egypt's Ahmed Salah. And we've more mixed doubles with the in-form French pair Ronan Labar and Audrey Fontaine. They're up against Indonesians Irfan Fadila and Weni Angriani. And there's more men's singles. The number 8 seed, the best from India, Kidambi Srikanth, faces the Russian Open winner Sergei Sirant. So our first match up, it's going to be that women's doubles. Let's take a look at the very top section of the women's doubles draw. The winners of our scheduled match here guaranteed to meet the tournament's favourites, the number 1 seeds from Japan, Misaki Matsumoto and Ayaka Takahashi in round 2. So our first match up then, Eva Lee and Paula Lynn Obanana up against Chang Hui and Yang Qing-tun. It's a real privilege for me here today to be joined by Steen Pedersen, a former head coach of the Danish national team. How are you feeling, Steen?
Yeah, it's going to be great. I hope it's going to be a great week here in Glasgow with the World Championships here. Good memories from 20 years ago.
Absolutely right. So, players getting ready to start the first match of today.
Ladies, remember, this is a challenge court. You can challenge, okay? You have to do it immediately, okay? Okay. Your choice, red or black? Black. Red. Receive, cool, receive.
So there's our umpire, Jakob Sindberg from Denmark, with the toss of the coin. It appears the pair from Chinese Taipei have won the toss and elected to receive serve. And now here we go. Let's introduce the first of our women's doubles pairs. So, firstly, Yang Qing-tun from Chinese Taipei. This 21-year-old from Tainan. They're not too far from their career high, just recently up at number 73 in the world rankings. They've slipped down just a few places over the last couple of weeks. Currently ranked 78 in the world. She and her partner, Chang Hui, also 21 years of age, from Taipei City. So both of them very accomplished mixed doubles players as well, but we were focusing on the women's doubles. They've clawed their way up to that ranking within the world's top 80 in women's doubles, but today they're up against a pair that's formally retired and now back in action. From the US of A, Eva Lee, this 31-year-old, originally from Hong Kong, moved over to America where she now lives and represents America. They represented America in the Rio Olympics last summer. She and her partner, Paula Lynn Obanana. Great to see these two Americans back on court, and they just did enough to get a spot in the World Championships draw. There's Paula Lynn Obanana, 32 years of age, originally from the Philippines. Once again, moved over to America where they now represent America through the latter stages of their career. They've been as high as the world's top 20. In previous years, they've slipped down to 153. No surprise, really, having retired and haven't played a great deal of competition over the last 6 months. There's Jakob Sinberg, our umpire, supported today his service judge, Klaus Schleben from Austria. So then, Steen, what do you think about this women's doubles match? Have you seen either of these pairs compete before?
Yeah, I've seen Paula Lynn Obanana and Eva Lee at the Olympics. Played a crucial role for the Danes there in their progress from the group stage. Needed to score a certain amount of points against Lu Ying and Lu Yu in order to send the Danes through to the second round.
Yeah, a very crucial role, despite not winning many matches in that Rio Olympics. But setting up good draws for other pairs within that Olympic qualifying group. And it's Eva Lee at the far side of the court, the top of the screens, that's going to be opening the first serve for America.
1 love.
Well, a cheap point there with an error at the net.
Two love. Service over. 1, 2.
Well, a nervy start. Steen, a few errors coming off the strings so far.
Yeah, I think in the beginning here we must expect the Americans to have a little bit of the upper hand in terms of experience, having participated in the Olympics. They've played at this stage before. Chang and Chang hasn't played exactly at these stages.
Service over. 2,
especially playing the first match. So I guess a lot of tension in the hand and the arm there of Yang and Ching.
Yeah, absolutely. First match up. And television court as well.
3.
Some pressure out there for these players to be in round 1 and opening things up in this event.
Service over. 4, 3. Service over. 4, all.
It's going to be a fascinating match, in my opinion, Steen. These Americans have played up in the top 20 in the world before, and like you say, they've played at this kind of level of competition, you know, the Olympics. And prior to that, getting up into the high teens in the world rankings, they must have had some pretty good career results.
Yeah, I think they played a lot of tournaments in the years of the Olympic qualifications and so on. And I think also it might have been an issue of funding, I would suspect, that could have some influence, and maybe work or education is also the case. So they decided that they still want to play, and it's going to be interesting to see what level they can display. Because even though there's no head-to-heads between these two pairs, then three of the players have played previously in 2014 in California at the KNB Graphics International there, with the Americans as winners in 3 games.
Well, absolutely. These two 21-year-olds, I mean, not that far out of junior badminton, really. This is a real step up for them. They've made a few quarter-finals in international series events. That semi-final that the pair from Chinese Taipei made in Austria at the beginning of the year, perhaps their best performance to date. But coming up today against a more experienced and formerly retired pair, it's a real interesting prospect to see which way this one's going to go.
Yeah, definitely. But we also have to say that some of the experience that they've got, Obanana and Eva Lee, is due to playing in the American continent, the Olympic qualification and so on. There might have been others challenging for it. Had, for instance, these two young Chinese Taipei girls lived in the American continent. Who knows if they might have been competitors for an Olympic spot.
8-5.
Well, that was a tremendous turn across with a backhand from Taipei. It was Eva Lee that didn't quite manage to read it. She didn't anticipate the cross-court drive from the backhand.
6-8.
I always find it fascinating when learning about players like this, players that I've never come across before. Paula, Lynn, Obanana, for example, originally from the Philippines. I read a story last night. She was 10 years old. And the reason that she got into badminton, a badminton coach offered her a piece of sandwich if she tried out for the badminton team of that school. She had no interest in badminton whatsoever, but she was so hungry, she accepted.
Yeah.
And then look at her some years later, representing America in the Olympics in that sport. I mean, what a story.
Yeah, sometimes it's about being in the right place at the right time.
Service over. 9-8.
There's a service fault on Eva Lee. Racket pointing in downwards direction.
Yeah, service judge called into action for the first time today. I'm sure it won't be the last.
10-8.
Good placement.
Yeah, great pressure from Chinese Taipei straight down the middle of the court, and that smash onto the hip of Eva Lee, very difficult to defend.
Oh. 11-8 interval.
Well, it's Chang and Yang with the 3-point advantage as we make way to the mid-game interval here in the first. Eva Lee and Paula Lynn trailing by 3 points at 11-8.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds.
Well, you heard that from the coach, Steen. Some comment at the end there about everything being a little short. Perhaps talking about the length of these lifts?
Perhaps. I'm glad you were talking about the American coach, because I didn't understand what the Chinese Taipei coach was saying. Everything's a little short, and yeah, it's very, very good arena here in Glasgow. But we saw the testing of the shuttles, and there was some small signs that there could be a little bit of a drift coming from the Chinese Taipei side towards the Americans.
Yes,
and that means that they could have a bit of a struggle getting the correct length on their lifts, and the Chinese Taipei pair gets a little bit of a help in their attacking game.
Yes, absolutely. Watching the players yesterday during practice on these courts, it did appear to me that the shuttles were slightly slower than I'm used to seeing, but perhaps it's just the big arena. Yes, and that little bit of drift. We watched Christina Pedersen, I think it was, testing the shuttles this morning.
Service over.
Yeah, better attacking from the Americans. Obanana with the cross-court smash. Again, onto that right hip of Chang.
Yeah. We see how quickly Eva Lee searches the front court there. Definitely the preferred position with the two Americans. They know them reasonably well since they played a couple of years in the Danish Badminton League. They're not doing it anymore, but it's been 3 or 4 years since they played some team matches in Denmark.
Service over.
Well, that drive at the backhand helped with the net cord. I think it just
13-10.
caused an issue with Eva Lee's timing. There's that backhand again, cross court from Chang.
Oh. 14-10.
Well, maybe it's just because we know that they haven't competed internationally for quite some time, but I think I can see it on Eva Lee's game that it's a little bit rusty.
11.
Yes, exactly. It did look a few of these overheads in attack in particular. Bit of rust there, some lack of international competition. Not surprising, really, but...
Yeah, that's gone long.
12-14.
Well played by Chang and Yang.
Yeah, certainly happy to defend when they need to and just work these rallies, try and find that opening.
That's a fantastic round in this one. Oh!
Service over.
Fortunately, a mistake from Paula, Lynn, Obanana.
12.
Just snatched at it. Shuttle was just an inch or so below where she'd wanted it to be, perhaps. That drift, perhaps the speed of the shuttles, or perhaps it's just that rustiness you talked about.
16-12.
Yeah, good call from Chang.
17-12.
Yang winding up with the drop shot I think it was going to be, but a great shout from her partner. Oh, that's a shame for the Americans. A well-structured attack. Eva Lee again with the unforced error.
It's a great play by Yang there, because she just pushes us past Eva Lee, so Obanana has to move a long distance to play that shot. And a very good start for the two Chinese Taipei girls.
20, game point, 12.
Yeah, happy just to move the shuttle around to wait to see what Eva Lee is about to do before driving the shuttle past her. That's another example right there, and it's set up game point for this pair from Chinese Taipei.
Game.
And there it is, the drive onto Eva Lee's backhand cross court, and the first game to Chang Qinghui and Yang Qing Tung of Chinese Taipei. And they're looking pretty confident out there. That score of 21-12 in just 13 minutes.
OK， 好，啊，过来，你也看迄个 A 嘛，有绑迄金，你看那金毛那个绿色迄个呀，迄个防守能力比较不好，伊为什么要讲伊嘞？哦，啊，过来你话，你拍了顺对较紧，咱就对话打完连贯要快一点，要打完顺直接看，那就袂散。OK， 啊，打完的时候要连贯。哦。You can get them down into the low positions now that they got you into.
Right.
Yeah, Chris, how are you feeling about that? This guys, remember to enjoy yourself, and that sounds crazy, but go out there and just go for everything. Now it's keep these guys on the court as long as possible. Right. Take breaks, go for a walk, do stuff. Okay? Drag it out. When you're on, you've got the better side of the court.
Yeah.
So set up the position, everything you do. If you want to get on the net, get on the net, but look from here.
Right.
If you're not sure, set up.
Right.
Come on. Okay. Fight for it. World champ.
Yeah, interesting to hear the words from the American coach. Well, it's a small world's team. We've got an American pairing originally from Hong Kong and one from the Philippines. And the coach, it sounds like, is from Scotland, and they're all representing America.
Yes, I'm not really an expert in English dialects, but that was also the first thing, but I don't know, Scottish?
Yeah, certainly sounded Scottish to me, but forgive me if I'm wrong and offend anybody.
Second game.
So Chang and Yang in red from Chinese Taipei, game 2. Yang with the serve, far end of your screen.
Love.
She thought that would have gone long, Eva Lee, but I suspect that there's a slight drift helping it to stay in. And we heard the American coach ask Eva Lee, how are you feeling? And that to me is a sign that that he's a little bit concerned about her, more concerned than than for Paula Lynn.
Yes, well, I think if this American pair are going to have a chance, they're going to have to take them on in the mid-court and the forecourt. We've sensed that Eva Lee is more comfortable towards the front of the court. She's going to need to start asserting herself on this game. Try and keep the pressure going down, try and keep the attack if they're going to keep up with this pair from Chinese Taipei.
Yeah, and we heard the coach also urge them to play low, to get the Chinese Taipei pair to play from below the tape, and of course that's a good idea, but he also sounded a little bit like they didn't really believe it themselves, that just keep those guys on court as long as possible. I mean, that's not the winning speech, so to speak. So and enjoy themselves. There's indications that the form is not as good as they could have hoped for, and definitely not Olympic form from Lee and Obanana. Well played.
Yeah, absolutely. The coach advising them to really go for it. It seems like perhaps they don't believe in themselves at the moment. Let's hope for a bit of a turnaround in this second game. They're already 5 points behind at the start, 6-1 with Chang serving.
Ooh, it's a close call. We haven't had a challenge yet, but of course we have the Hawkeye system here. I don't think... Ah, that's clearly out. That's a good call by the linesman. But it could very well be the first time the pair from Chinese Taipei is playing on a court where the challenge is a possibility. Of course, at the Olympics there was challenge on all 3 courts, so the Americans would have experienced that possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. I think perhaps the highest profile match these two have played, the pair from Taipei, Chang and Yang, I mean, was the last World Championships, 2015. I think they were undone in the last 16 by Pedersen and Juhl of Denmark, in fact. I think it was straight games, 15 and 15, if I remember rightly, and I don't know whether there must have been the challenge system in place, perhaps then, Steen?
Yeah, but I'm doubtful that it would be selected as a TV court match.
Yes, of course. Well, that one very close indeed.
10-2.
Yeah, the Americans really under some pressure now, 10-2 behind and a game down. What would they do from here, Steen? I mean, how do you pull yourself out of this at that stage?
I don't think they can. I think it's going to be really, really difficult.
Well, it's Taipei in front then at the break very quickly. 7 minutes gone, 11-2 in game 2 and a game to the good. Pressure really on the Americans now.
Communicating a bit better. It's just a game of trying to bully them back, get a little closer up the court and get onto the net. Okay? Because they're not playing the back of the court.
Okay.
Well, a good, fairly clear instructions once again from the American coach. It's a case of trying to bully them back. Steen, they need to assert themselves, they need to communicate better, he said. And they need to try and force the Taipei pair back in court.
Yeah, I would say ditch the communication. You need to play better. That's the first thing. And I simply think the Chinese Taipei pair are playing much better than the Americans right now, and they're simply in better shape.
Yeah, they're starting to look more confident. You can see it in their gameplay, just happy to move around the court and move the shuttle around and find that gap. And I think it looks like it's just a matter of time, really.
12-3.
So right now the difference is actually 21-3. Chinese Taipei scored 12 points in this game and the Americans 12 in the first, so that's quite a big deficit, and they can't keep up with the pace. Oh, I think that would have gone wide, that service from Chang. They're only selected as the 4th pair from Chinese Taipei, Chang and Yang, so definitely got some possibilities in practice.
Yes, absolutely. Yang in particular, just watching her there, particularly on the backhand, how comfortable she looks, just turning the shuttle, driving in the mid-court and finding the gaps at the front. It's almost like a training rally at times in this match.
14-3.
Well, there's going to be a significant test for them should the pair from Chinese Taipei make their way through to the next round. Mayaki Matsumoto
63.
and her partner, the #1 seeds from Japan, have already got a bye in the first round. They're through to that second round, which might be tomorrow or the day after, of course. That'll be a much tougher test, I think, for this pair.
17.
Just like the Olympics, there's different kinds of regulations for how to qualify for the World Championships, and that means that sometimes we have some early round matches that are quite lopsided, but we also sometimes see the surprises happen in the first couple of rounds, where people are not really settled in the hole yet and so on.
Service over.
Definitely settled the two Chinese players here. Sorry, Chinese Taipei players.
Yeah, absolutely. 18-4 this second game. Very one-sided. And a great start to the tournament
19-4
for this pair, Wang and Chang of Taipei. Okay, the competition perhaps for them today isn't as strong as it's going to be for them this week, but no doubt it will help them grow in confidence and
19.
give them something to believe in their next match against the #1 seeds.
Service over.
Good drop shot. Little disguise on it.
Yeah, fantastic attack, but also I like the fact they got a bit lost in the middle. The punch clear straight down the middle of the court as well, a great choice. Just to give them a chance to regroup, get back in position.
6-20.
And they did have 15 match points. Obanana with the serve.
Oh.
And what a shame for the Americans to end the match in that way, but a very one-sided victory for this pair from Chinese Taipei, Chang and Yang. Total dominance, really, and unfortunately for the Americans, they just weren't up to the level they need to be to compete in this tournament. Fairly confident they're going to go back to America and back to retirement and enjoy themselves. That might be the last time we see Eva Lee and Paula Lynn Obanana in competition. Confirmation of that score then. Chang Qinghui and Yang Ching Tung have progressed through round one in the women's doubles. They've overcome Eva Lee, Paula Lynn Obanana 21-12, 21-6. Well, they're going to be up against Takahashi and Matsumoto, the Japanese #1 seeds, in their next round, round two in the women's doubles, a much more fierce test for them. And we say farewell to Eva Lee and Paula Lynn. So a quick roundup of what just happened in that match, and we'll be back very shortly for our second match up on court one. So World Championships action in Glasgow, day 1. And we've just witnessed a very dominant looking performance from Yang and Chang of Chinese Taipei in the women's doubles. Our first match live for you. We've got men's doubles action up next. Mitchell Weller and Simon Wing Hang Leung of Australia. They're up against the Austrians, Dominik Stipsitz and Roman Zernwald. So a quick look at this particular section of the men's